to wonder, is it romance, or is it performance? Is it about making someone feel special, or about creating a kind of dependence, a sense that you owe them something in return? And this is where the term love bombing enters the picture. Now, love bombing sounds sweet, doesn't it? Like being showered with love and affection. Who wouldn't want that? But psychologists warn that love bombing can be dangerous. It's when someone overwhelms you with attention, affection, and gifts in the beginning, so much so that you don't really have time to stop and think. You're swept off your feet. It's exciting. It feels magical. But the danger is that it can also be a way of gaining control. Once you're hooked, once you're emotionally invested, the dynamic can shift. Think about it like fireworks. At first, they're dazzling. They light up the sky, and you can't take your eyes off them. But fireworks don't last. They burn out quickly, and then you're left in the dark. Love bombing works the same way. Those big highs can be followed by some very deep lows. And when the attention fades or turns critical, you're left feeling confused, even trapped. Now, imagine this on Johnny Depp's scale. We're not talking about flowers or little surprises. We're talking mansions, cars, jewelry worth millions. Imagine being the person on the receiving end of that. At first, it might feel like the ultimate proof of love. But what happens when those gestures start to feel overwhelming? What happens when they come with strings attached? This is exactly the shift that experts warn about. The line between genuine affection and manipulation can get blurry. And once the honeymoon phase ends, reality can come crashing in hard. What once felt like magic can suddenly feel suffocating. And let's be real. When you're dealing with tens of millions of dollars, the stakes aren't just emotional. They're financial. They're public. When something goes wrong at that level, it's not just a breakup. It's headlines. It's legal battles. It's reputations on the line. And for Johnny Depp, that fallout was massive. It wasn't just about lost money. It wasn't just about heartbreak. It was about a career, an image, and a personal life torn apart in front of millions of people. Now, let's step back from Hollywood for a moment and make this relatable. Because you might be thinking, well, I'll never experience anything like that. And you're right, most of us won't. But love bombing isn't just a celebrity problem. It happens everywhere, in everyday relationships. It might not be mansions and diamonds. It might be constant texting, over-the-top compliments, or rushing to move in together after only a few weeks. It might be someone saying, "I love you," on the second date, or making huge promises they can't possibly keep. And the pattern is the same, overwhelming affection that eventually turns into something more complicated, maybe even toxic. So how do you tell the difference? How do you know if what you're experiencing is real love, or just a fairy tale illusion? Experts say the key is balance. Healthy love grows steadily. It doesn't rush. It doesn't pressure. It allows both people to feel safe and respected. It's not about grand gestures. It's about consistency. It's about small acts of kindness that add up over time. A partner who listens. A partner who shows up. A partner who makes you feel valued without needing to prove it with money or drama. One therapist puts it this way: real love feels calm. That doesn't mean it's boring. It means it's steady. It doesn't take you on a roller coaster of extreme highs and devastating lows. It gives you space to breathe. It allows you to be yourself. If a relationship feels like a never-ending thrill ride, it might not be love. It might be love bombing. And that's the lesson we can pull from Johnny's story. Yes, his situation was on a massive scale. Yes, the numbers were staggering. But underneath all that, the human experience was the same. The thrill of being adored. The confusion when things shifted. The pain when it all fell apart. The scale is different, but the emotions? They're universal. Now, let me ask you again, was Johnny's multi-million-dollar love bomb a genuine act of passion? Or was it Hollywood's version of a horror story? It's not an easy question to answer. Some people will see it as romance, pure and simple. Others will see it as manipulation, wrapped up in glitter. And maybe the truth lies somewhere in between. But here's what matters for us, learning to spot the difference in our own lives. Because whether the gestures are worth millions or just a few dollars, the pattern is the same. Love bombing isn't about money. It's about intensity. It's about control. And it's about how quickly a fairy tale can unravel. So, next time someone sweeps you off your feet, take a breath. Enjoy it, sure. But also ask yourself, is this sustainable? Is it consistent? Is it balanced? Because the best love stories aren't the ones filled with castles and diamonds. They're the ones filled with trust, kindness, and the quiet kind of devotion that doesn't need an audience. And that's why Johnny Depp's story is more than just Hollywood gossip. It's a reminder. A warning. A chance for us to reflect on what love really means, and what it doesn't. So, I'll leave you with this. Do you think Johnny's $XX million love bomb was the ultimate fairy tale, or was it Hollywood's horror show in disguise? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your take. And if this story got you thinking, check out my other video on the untold truths of celebrity relationships. You won't want to miss it. And of course, if you enjoyed hanging out here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. That way, you'll always know when the next story drops, the kind that makes you rethink everything you thought you knew about love, fame, and the fine line between fairy tales and warnings. Thanks for watching, my friends. And remember, sometimes the brightest, most dazzling love stories aren't fairy tales at all. Sometimes, they're cautionary tales in disguise. Imagine this for a moment. Spending tens of millions of dollars just to prove your love. Not thousands, not hundreds of thousands, but tens of millions. Try to picture that. Most of us think twice before splurging on a weekend trip or a fancy dinner. For many, buying flowers or a small gift feels like a big gesture. But tens of millions? That's not just a grand gesture, that's a spectacle. It's something that makes headlines. Something so over the top that it doesn't feel real anymore. Now, if someone did that for you, how would you feel? Honestly, think about it. At first, it might feel like a dream. You'd probably be swept off your feet, right? Who wouldn't be? Private jets whisking you away to exotic places, glittering jewelry landing in your lap, homes bought as if they were just souvenirs from a vacation. It sounds unbelievable, like a fantasy. But here's the twist. What if that fantasy slowly started turning into a nightmare? What if what looked like the ultimate love story turned out to be the opening scene of a horror film? This is where Johnny Depp's story comes in. His so-called love bomb wasn't a bunch of roses or a surprise dinner date. It wasn't even an expensive car or a once-in-a-lifetime vacation. It was bigger, louder, more dramatic, worth millions. Tens of millions. And the world couldn't look away. Everyone wanted to know, was this the most romantic gesture Hollywood had ever seen, or was it something far more troubling hiding behind a shiny curtain? And this is why the story matters to all of us, not just to celebrities. Because even though most of us will never experience love on that scale, we're not talking private islands and $100 million bank accounts here, the feelings underneath it all are universal. That rush of excitement when someone pays us special attention. That giddy sense of being chosen. That dangerous little thought that whispers, this is it. This is the love I've been waiting for. And then, sometimes, the sinking realization that maybe it isn't what it seemed to be.